Today I'm going to be learning about Swedish houses by watching this video. Every Swedish house style explained in 8 minutes. So yeah, you can see some of them here. Tell me if they're recognisable, if you see these a lot in Sweden. Have you ever lived in one of them? Quite a lot. Interested to see this. Tell me what you think about this. And yeah, let's learn. Should be interesting. Check out.
Longhouse. The earliest distinct Nordic architectural form, the Viking longhouse was a communal dwelling built around a central hearth. Its structure consisted of a timber frame with curved, ship-like walls designed to brace against wind. Walls were typically made of wattle and daub or vertical wooden staves. A key feature was the long, open central hall that housed both people and livestock, with a smoke hole in the thatched or turf roof instead of a chimney. The design was entirely utilitarian, focused on warmth, shelter, and communal living.
That is interesting. Is it purposely shaped like a boat? Did they take the idea from the design of a boat, or was it the other way around? Like, it's really interesting. So is there still a lot of them, like, in Sweden that you can visit? I'm sure like there's not so many, but maybe some have been turned into like tourist attractions or something like that. But really cool. It's one thing I'd like to see from different countries as well, see how architecture differs and the reasons why it differs. And obviously you can see this is like has a reason for its shape and design, and yeah, it's really like cool to look at.
Log house.
So unique. I think,
Following the Viking Age, the dominant construction technique became the corner-timbered log house, or nuttimring. This method involves stacking horizontal logs and interlocking them at the corners with tight-fitting notches, creating an incredibly durable and well-insulated structure. Early versions were single-room cottages with a central hearth, but the style evolved to include more complex layouts. This technique formed the foundation of all Swedish vernacular wood architecture for centuries. Herrgård. During Sweden's Age of Greatness, the nobility built manor houses as direct expressions of power and order. Influenced by continental trends, these buildings are defined by strict symmetry and heavy massing. A key identifier is the sätteritak, a hipped and curved roof that created an imposing silhouette. Construction was of stone or plastered brick to signal permanence and wealth, a formal declaration of status imported to project control over the Swedish landscape.
And that's sort of house you'll see, like in the UK you have these like country homes, or you can call them manors as well. I think it's something that maybe at that time period was common throughout the world. But it's also interesting to see what makes it uniquely Swedish. When I look at that, it definitely looks very different to like the British equivalent, and it looks quite Swedish, if that makes sense. But yeah, just an interesting time period as well. People building these, like, or the wealthy building these very grand buildings. And again, cool to see some of them still standing today.
Gustavian. A reaction to Baroque heaviness, the Gustavian style is Sweden's interpretation of neoclassicism. It embraces symmetry and classical motifs like pilasters and medallions, but simplifies them with a characteristic lightness. Palettes shifted to pale yellows, light grays, and soft blues, a practical choice to maximize and reflect light during long, dark winters. The overall effect is one of elegance and restraint, establishing a design sensibility focused on balance and light.
Really nice.
Carpenter's joy.
Wow.
The industrial era's new tools and middle-class wealth fueled a highly decorative and eclectic period for villas. This era is defined by the ornamental woodwork known as snickarglädje, or carpenter's joy. It adorns porches, gables, and window frames, celebrating craftsmanship itself. This feature was often applied to homes built in the Swiss style, with large eaves, balconies, and asymmetrical forms, creating a romantic, picturesque ideal that valued individualism and intricate detail.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, how individual it is, and the craft. It's, I mean, really the polar opposite of a lot of properties or houses today, which are all like very similar, minimalist. not trying to stand out. Whereas that first one, like when you see it's absolutely breathtaking. Maybe that's just an extreme example of it, but also you really got to like appreciate the work and detail that goes into all of those there. Again, even the name Carpenter's Joy, that's like really satisfying. Tell me if there's a lot of those ones, if you've ever seen one of them in person.
Landshövdingehus, a unique urban typology, particularly in Gothenburg. The Landshövdingehus is a 3-story apartment building with a stone or brick ground floor and 2 timber-built upper floors. This design cleverly circumvented fire regulations that prohibited wooden buildings over 2 stories. With enclosed courtyards and simple facades, it became the signature housing for the working class and defines the character of entire city districts.
I mean, even that one's super cool. Like the reason for it to like circumvent the rules, where it's like to not have wooden houses over 2 stories. It's literally over 2 stories if you like kind of think of it like that. But it makes it look very nice. Like it's very unique. Again, I've never really seen anything like that. Tell me if you knew the origins of that, if you knew the reason why. Maybe if you're from Gothenburg, if you've seen that. I don't know if everybody would know the reason why they look like that.
Jugend. Sweden's take on Art Nouveau, known as Jugend, was a primarily urban style that rejected historical imitation in favor of soft, organic forms inspired by nature. Facades are often asymmetrical, made of smooth plaster or stone, and feature curving window openings, floral motifs, and bay windows. The design language is fluid and cohesive, with every element, from the door handles to the roofline, contributing to a unified, artistic whole. National Romanticism. Running parallel to Art Nouveau, National Romanticism was a deliberate return to historical Swedish forms. It draws on medieval castles and farmsteads for inspiration, resulting in buildings that appear heavy, sturdy, and grounded. Key materials are dark-stained wood, rough-hewn natural stone, and handmade brick. The designs are often asymmetrical and irregular, using turrets and varied window sizes to create a fortress-like, uniquely Swedish character tied to a romanticized vision of the nation's past. Swedish Grace. A short but highly influential period, Nordic classicism refined the classical elements of the Gustavian era into a more stripped-down and elegant form. It combines the symmetry and proportions of classical architecture with a clean, modern restraint. Ornament is minimal and stylized, and there is a strong emphasis on craftsmanship and high-quality materials like brick and plaster. It represents a brief, beautiful balance point between historical tradition and emerging modernism.
I think that's also what he's talking about there is quite important, and it shows the difference to more modern day homes, or not just homes but like furniture and all that sort of thing. Like there's such a focus on quality in these older times, not just quality, it's just like it can be long lasting, putting a lot of thought into the detail. Everything was it seems like so much more thought out, and it made it better quality and a bit more unique as well. But yeah, like tell me if you notice, do you think that Sweden has a very unique style? I feel like when I look at these houses, whether it's the roofs or something about it, it just feels very Swedish.
Functionalism. Known in Sweden as funkies, this was a radical social and aesthetic movement where form followed function to prioritize health and efficiency. The style is defined by its rejection of all historical ornament. Key features include flat roofs, smooth white stucco facades, geometric shapes like cubes and cylinders, and large ribbon windows to maximize light. This became the architectural language of the emerging Swedish welfare state, representing modernity and social progress. Folkhemmet. This style represents a softer, more humanistic modernism that built the classic Swedish suburbs. It typically consists of 3 to 4 story apartment buildings made of red or yellow brick, featuring pitched tile roofs, well-proportioned windows, and functional balconies. It moved away from the starkness of pure funkies to create durable, practical, and community-focused housing for the masses under the people's home political ideology. Million Programmet. This style is the result of a massive state-led initiative to build 1 million new homes. Architecturally, it is an industrialized application of modernist principles, defined by the use of large, prefabricated concrete panels assembled into vast apartment blocks and terraced houses. The aesthetic is one of pure, unadorned utility and repetition, representing the peak of rationalist, top-down urban planning in Sweden.
Yeah, tell me more about the program itself. Like, that's a very obviously ambitious project. Like, how did that change Sweden as a country, I guess? Like, was it good for the economy, good for the people? Did it lower the cost of properties for people? Like, when was it? Maybe I'll try and find a video on that. It seems like, yeah, something like I feel like a lot of countries could do with. Definitely in the UK at the moment, there's a real lack of supply of property, something like that that's so like ambitious and helpful for people who would really be needed at the moment.
Postmodern. As a reaction to the perceived sterility of the Million program, this period saw a return to more playful and traditional forms. Postmodernism reintroduced historical references, color, and smaller, more human-scaled buildings, often with varied window shapes and asymmetrical layouts. The era also saw a conscious revival of the vernacular Falu red cottage style in new developments, prioritizing a sense of coziness and community over modernist efficiency. Minimalism. Current Swedish residential design merges modernist minimalism with a strong emphasis on natural materials. The modern villa features clean, geometric lines, open-plan interiors, and extensive use of glass to connect with the landscape. Wood cladding, particularly in untreated larch or pine that weathers to a natural silver gray, is a hallmark. The design prioritizes sustainability and energy efficiency, reflecting a contemporary ideology that values both technological precision and a deep, respectful integration with nature. Thanks for watching.
It's cool, and yeah, it's like for me, it's like I feel like some people will prefer the really traditional style. Some people might prefer the minimalist modern style, but I actually kind of like both. Like especially these sort of minimalist buildings, when it's in an environment like this in nature, I feel like it's very nice to look at. As much as it's quite simple, lacking detail. I mean, this actually has some detail with the wood paneling. That actually makes it really that bit nicer, especially in this sort of nature environment. But how much would a house like that cost in Sweden? But yeah, very cool. Such a wide range of different homes. I'm sure some of those, like the Million Project one, because of how many there is, you've maybe or probably lived in one of those at one point. But whether it's that or another, tell me if you've lived in any of them or what it's like. Do you have a preference to what style you think, what you like best, and tell me what you feel like is the most Swedish style of property or home. Thanks.